Yep, you heard it here. My favorite all-around bait for fishing ponds is gotta be the Huddleston grass minnow. I know I'm a lure builder and you'd think it'd be glide baits. Fishing ponds is gotta be this, and surprisingly this catches bigger fish in ponds than any other bait I've used. I mean, I could go catch fish all day on a Cinco, but something about that natural profile, it just matches like any tiny bait fish that you can find in the ponds. And I think because it's got that completely hidden hook, the big fish just don't find anything about it suspicious. They just key in on it. They know it's a fish. They grab it and they hold on to it for pretty long too. I've never had any misses on it really. When they bite it, they freaking get it. It's usually in the back of their throat, and I've never had any bad hookups on it other than one time switching out rods, trying a different rod, and I think the rod was actually the problem. I missed probably 2 fish on it and went right back to what I started with. It's actually like probably my best kept secret when I am fishing it. I really don't tell anyone about it, but I really wanted to do a video and just get it out there. I feel like you guys should know how good this bait really is, because I think it really gets overshadowed by all the other Huddlestons, and it's really a good kept secret. I know I've seen on Huddleston's Instagram, they said if you know, you know, and I know there's guys that know you can catch some giant bass on this. It's not a little tiny, you catch some little tiny 1-pounders on it, but I've caught 4-pounders on it. You really don't get into the 5 and 6 too much up in Michigan. I haven't caught nothing on it that big yet, but I think I will for sure this year now that I know, because I just started using it last year in the probably late spring into summer. I think I stopped using it around September. They just weren't keying in on it anymore, and I was working on my own weedless bluegill design, so I was really fishing that a lot instead of this. Another key feature of it is that the head is hollow. So right there it's hollow, so that when they bite it, they're getting that hook, and it's a pretty good size hook in there too. As you can see, got some pretty munched up guys here, and my favorite color is that I think it's trout minnow. I mean, it just looks like a bluegill to me. It's got that green back, a little bit of pinkish purple, little silver hit, and then when it's in the sun, it's transparent belly, and it's just perfect. I do a little trick, is I use Bass Dynasty scent on it. It's like a really thick slimy scent, and I rub that on it, and I think when they're following it, if they don't want to commit, I think that's like one more step that makes them want to commit to it. But yeah, you can tell I'm a freaking tackle nut. This is just my backup stuff of all the tackle I love to use, and still right now I don't think I could think of anything better than that grass minnow all around for fishing ponds. I know it would be great in lakes too, but just ponds seem like they really get hammered by people, and they've seen every lure, and I think this is something that they haven't seen, and it's just so freaking natural that they just commit to it. If there's a big bass in that lake, you're gonna catch it on that lure for sure. For my setup I use for it, I came across this totally by accident. You wouldn't think it, but it's a Tatula 7-foot medium heavy cranking rod, and you wouldn't think that'd be good on like a lure like that with a pretty good jig hook in it, but for some reason that bait is so light, I think, is that when they inhale it, it goes to the back of their throat, and it gives you a little bit of bend so that they can grab it. And you feel usually 2 taps like that, and I let them take it and just swing on it as hard as I can, because it's got that bend in it, so you really want to swing on it and then just start cranking. And I really haven't lost a single fish using this setup, and I've caught, I'd say last summer I probably caught at least 20 fish on that rig doing that, and I used the Tatula SV73, and it really winds that extra line up. You can crank it in. It's a 20-pound fluorocarbon on there. I use the Berkeley Trilene just because I respool so much that it's a pretty cost efficient line. You can get them pretty cheap during like the Bass Pro Shop sales in the Spring Classic. When I was catching them, the first fish I caught on this, I thought, man, I need to switch rods, use a jig rod, because I just was using this totally by accident because I had 3 rods with me and I threw the grass minnow on this rod. It was just my extra rod, so I threw it on there, was using it, caught 2 fish on it, and then I used my like small jig rod. It's a little bit stiffer action. It's I'd say it's a fast action. I think it's a Tatula 7-foot fast action. It's not like a cranking rod or anything. It's just a pretty standard rod. And first 2 fish that I hooked on it, or that hit it, I couldn't hook them. It yanked it right out of its mouth, and I don't know if it was total coincidence, but I just thought, screw it, I'm going back to what works, and never switched from there. Always use that cranking rod. And I think that's a really good rod. If you think about it like using a chatterbait or something that you're constantly reeling, you're going to use a glass rod like that to let them really grab it. So yeah, if you haven't already, you guys got to go check out the Huddleston Grass Minnow. This ain't sponsored or anything. I have no affiliation with them whatsoever, but I think this is a killer bait, and you guys should grab one this summer, or this spring actually. And I'd say right after spawning is when you're really going to want to use this. I started using it around May, and that's when they were just on it non-stop. So yeah, just right when they're over with that spawning, I'm sure it'd be a killer freaking bed bait too actually. But yeah, just whenever you get a chance, just try it, and it's really going to be a freaking killer bait for you, I promise. So yeah, go try it out, guys. Thank you for watching. God bless.